Friends, happy Saturday. I got another hand of the day for you. Today is September 13th, 2025. Reviewing some river bluffs gone wrong. Found a really interesting one. I want to see what GTO Wizard thinks about my moves, and I want to know what you all think about it. So use the comments. Let's dive into it. All right, everybody, here's our spot. We are sitting on a huge stack, 132 big blinds. I think we're still before late reg in this tournament. So we got a ways to go. We've built up a nice healthy stack, kind of pushing around the table. And we see an open from early position of 3.5 bigs off of a 25-ish big blind stack, which is odd. Usually you're going to get 2 to 2.5. 3.5 is very odd, so there's something to note. I definitely made a mental note in play. Folds around us, we got Queen Jack offsuit, and I think this is a slam dunk call. So we're not even going to look at GTO Wizard for that decision because it's just that easy. Flop 954. So now we've got two overs. We've got a gut shot straight draw, not a gut shot straight draw, backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. So a lot of promise and not much else. And so we're going to check this board. I, especially because of that opponent's really big raise size, that has me leaning even more toward just checking everything, which GTO Wizard agrees is the correct move. And then an opponent is going to bet 3 into an inflated pot of 8.5 big blinds. And I actually contemplated a check raise here, a small check raise in game. I didn't ultimately do it. Ultimately, I called, but I wanted to see what GTO Wizard thinks about a check raise with this specific hand. And some of you are like, what the hell are you talking about? Why in the world would you check raise this? Well, I got two overcards. I've got a backdoor flush draw. I've got a backdoor straight draw. And I've got queen high. And this could put a lot of pressure on my opponent's hands that aren't made hands yet. So now, with all of that explanation of my flawed thinking, queen jack. Yeah, it hates that. And it probably hates that because we just don't have enough equity yet. Also because our queen or jack could interact with their best hands. So like if a queen hits, we could be in terrible shape. If a jack hits, we could be in terrible shape. So that's probably why this is a bad idea. Although you can see like queen of hearts, jack of spades is going to raise a little bit. Queen of spades, jack of hearts is going to raise a little bit. So I wasn't like totally out to lunch, but I was 80% out to lunch, I guess. But in game, I ended up calling. So far, so good. Lucked myself into a good decision. Okay, now this turn is really an interesting card. A 3 of hearts. We're still going to check most hands, but you see that it starts to introduce some all-ins some of the time with these queen of hearts and jack of hearts holdings. Why? Because that is a good card for us and a terrible card for our opponent. We've got 3-4 and 3-5, and we've got 7-6, and we've got hearts, suited cards that got there. So there's a lot of things that are working in our favor here. We're still just going to check. And then our opponent decides to bet up third pot again. Right. Uh, I don't think we have any option other call here. Oops. Queen Jack offsuit. We could do. Yep, here it is. Look at this. We could just blast it and really put them in hell. Yeah. Man, that's a nasty move. So you check, call, flop, check. They bet this small bet again, and then we just blast over the top of them. That is such a filthy check raise. And it's probably because what we would be doing that with all of our two pair, most of our two pair. We'd be doing that with nine deuce. I guess so. Nine deuce. You got top pair plus you got up and down straight draw. I guess really any of these twos you're doing it. Yeah, it's interesting. Your sets, fours, fives. You're doing it with pocket sixes because you got 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can really torture your opponent here, and this would have been a good candidate to do some torturing. So, I mean, you can see it's 50-50. Like you can do that, but you can also just call. So I just called, which is I guess technically fine. And then the river is a 5, which is good for us, I think. So I jammed. What does GTO Wizard think about that move? Loves it. It loves it. Wow. All right. Because look, what else are we doing it with? Our fives. We're doing it with our fives. You know? We got a full house here. Otherwise, it's trip fives, queen 5, king 5, all this stuff. And you got to have some bluffs too, right? We're doing it with our flushes, right? Blast, 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 blast. So this is funny. Um, I get snap called. Let's just play it out. I get snap called by pocket kings and lose. Um, that's hilarious. I feel like so when I got snap called by kings, I'm like, okay, you're not folding kings. Let's evaluate what they're supposed to call with aces, kings, queens, jacks, tens. Duh, all your overpairs. You're supposed to call with top pair. I don't think I don't think top pair always calls this. You're supposed to call with all of these. So ace 4, pair of fours, ace kicker. No way. Uh, ace 6. No way. Right. Ace king, forget it. Ace queen, ace. I think all these hands get folded out. All these hands that beat us would fold out. I don't think they're calling. Not in the small stakes games I play. Uh, so I mean, you could tell by the way I'm thinking through this hand that I'm kind of stumbling into right choice in a lot of spots. Um, Turns out it was a good bluff. Just ran into a better hand that couldn't fold. So, what are you going to do? It happens sometimes. Let's stop there. See you guys next time.